Welcome back to Jersey Matters. A New Jersey radiologist wrote a textbook on breast cancer intervention that led him on a path that changed the course of Chinese medicine. Dr. Kenneth Tomkovich from CentraState Healthcare in Freehold joins us now. Thank you, sir. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks so much for having me.
So help us along this path where you write a textbook and you end up as a medical pioneer in China.
Well, it started out by accident. I was at a medical conference in Tampa, Florida, and I had written this textbook on breast cancer and breast interventions and biopsies and certain procedures that I do. And what I did was I found one of my mentors from the University of Colorado was there, and I gave him a copy of the textbook as kind of a thank you for teaching me. And he was with some Chinese physicians. He asked them, "Are you doing any of this stuff?" And they said no. And they said, "Well, we'd love to have you come out to China." Now, I didn't believe them at the time, but sure enough, they did invite me to China. That's how that all kind of got started.
Were you surprised when you found out that some of the things you wrote in your textbook weren't happening in China?
And I kind of expected them to have kind of advanced medical care, which in some places they did. They had some very nice machines and some very fancy equipment. But I was also kind of shocked that in one of the places where I went to do kind of an advanced lecture, they stopped me in the middle of the lecture and they said, "Oh, can you please teach us, Professor, this needle localization technique?" Well, that's kind of the most basic thing that we do as far as an intervention standpoint, which leads you to a lumpectomy. So when I asked them what they were doing now, they said, "Well, if it's on this side of the breast, we take this off. If it's on that side, we take this off. If we're not sure, we just do a whole mastectomy." And I said, "What do you do for benign disease?" And they said, "Well, we really don't know until we take it off." So you can think about this, that they were doing really mastectomies in 2010 at this one center. Now, this wasn't all across China, but in this one particular place, instead of these minimally invasive surgeries and lumpectomies and breast conservation therapy that we practice here. So I stopped everything and I taught them how to do lumpectomies. And then I realized that from center to center where I went, I kind of tailored my teaching to what they needed.
That affects the lives of, and may save the lives of, millions of women.
Possibly. I mean, that's kind of what I've heard. So what happened was...
You're being modest, but well, I mean, that's the truth, right? I mean, if they weren't doing some of the preventative care that you find commonplace in this country, and there's so many people, there's over 1 billion people in China, you just do the math.
Yeah, it's a lot of people, and I'm very appreciative and thankful that I've had the opportunity to do this, and really to be put in that situation and to be able to communicate to them and really think about it, for them to listen to me and to be welcoming of me and be able to say, "Hey, this doctor is telling us something that we're not doing. Let's consider what he's saying." Now, I went to another center where they actually were using my textbook to open the center, and I was floored by that. That was an amazing moment in my career. Was this place in Guangzhou, China, 9,000 miles away, was using my textbook to open their breast center.
And I mean, it's probably one of the reasons you get into medicine in the first place. This has to be so incredibly gratifying.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't imagine this happening, and I've been back several times since, and each time I go back, I see kind of the fruits of what we've done before. When I went back in 2012, I was at a larger lecture, and it was the first time that the Chinese Society of Interventional Radiology was having a separate section on breast interventions. The doctor, one of the doctors from that center where I taught them the lumpectomy procedure, she was on the dais speaking, giving a lecture to hundreds of doctors about how to do lumpectomies. And she was teaching these doctors now.
So they learned it quickly, but are you concerned, since they didn't know this, what they may not be doing in other types of medicine? You think of China as being advanced, are they not?
I think in many, many respects they are. I think they're really advanced, and I think they're really quick to learn because, as I said, when I went back, say, in 2014, that same center where they weren't doing any lumpectomies was so proud to show me they're doing a multidisciplinary breast cancer conference.
It sounds like, though, we should go over with a team of doctors in all different fields that would be able to share and save lives.
I think that'd be a great idea to see what kind of areas of medicine, that'd be a great exchange idea if we could have docs from there come here, as we had a group of doctors come to CentraState in 2012. There were 8 doctors from the Jiangsu province. We taught them for a week everything we could about breast cancer, and they were immersed in it, and they learned, and they went back to teach their doctors. So yeah, I think that'd be a fantastic cultural exchange and medical exchange.
All right, thank you, sir. I really appreciate it. You're a pioneer. Dr. Kenneth Tomkovich from CentraState Healthcare in Freehold, New Jersey. That wraps up Jersey Matters for this week. Stick around now for another thing.